to say this, but there's a whole chapter in my new book about this question of authenticity. So here's how it works. How it works is, and some of you may have heard me say this before, but how it works is a child has a need. A child has an absolute need for what we call attachment. Attachment being the drive to be close to somebody so we can be taken care of. The human child being the most immature, helpless, underdeveloped, and for the longest period of time, creature in the universe, our period of attachment is very, very long, but especially in the early years, it's absolutely indispensable. We just can't live with it, can't survive without attachments. No mammal can, but least of all can human beings. So we have this need to attach, to be close to people so they'll take care of us. That's obvious. We have another need, though, that evolution gave us, which is to be, as you said, authentic. And authentic is not some fancy new age spiritual state. It's actually feeling your gut feelings. It's absolutely essential. Let's demonstrate it. Let me ask you all a question. I'll get a show of hands. If you've had the experience of having a strong gut feeling about something and you ignored it and you were sorry afterwards, just raise your hand, okay? The vast majority of people here. Why is that? Because gut feelings were given us by nature to sense danger or safety. That's what they're given to us for. We evolved in the wild. We evolved out there in nature. We evolved out there for millions of years. And even our own species, until... If our own species has existed for an hour, then until 6 minutes ago, we lived out there in nature. Now, how long does any animal living in nature survive without their gut feelings? So it's essential. But what happens is, as a 2-year-old, you're angry about something. You're angry because you didn't get a cookie before dinner. You know, if your mom or dad are doing their job, they're not going to give you a cookie before dinner. So you're going to get angry. Well, that's all right. But what happens if your mom and dad read many, many psychology books, Jordan Peterson, for example, who says that an angry child should be made to sit by themselves until they come back to normal. Now, the only way we develop emotional health is if we're allowed to feel all our emotions as children, including anger, grief, sadness, joy. But some families, they can't handle that. Maybe the father grew up in a home where there was a lot of yelling and he can't stand the kid yelling. So he gives the message that if you're angry, you're going to sit by yourself. In other words, I'm going to threaten you with the loss of the most important thing to you, which is the attachment relationship. If you feel your feelings, you're going to be disattached. When you no longer feel your feelings, you can come back and talk to me. Well, now there's a conflict. Or what happens if the parents are in conflict with each other, there's a lot of stress, and the child just doesn't want to bother them with their own emotions. So now the child becomes the parent's emotional caregiver by suppressing their own feelings. So there's this conflict between attachment and authenticity. So in that conflict, attachment is going to win every time, and people suppress their authenticity. And specifically, if they weren't loved for who they are, they're going to work very hard to be liked. And if you want to be liked, just please everybody. Never say no, take everything on. Be responsible for what other people feel. Never disappoint anybody. They're all going to like you. But nobody's going to love you because they don't know you. So it's real work in this. And not only that, then there's all the social expectations that you should fit in and think like everybody else thinks, or dress like they all dress, or behave like they all behave. You know, so there's all these pressures not to be yourself. And then what happens is you get sick. You get depressed. You get anxious. You get cancer. You get autoimmune disease. You get addicted because the pain of not being yourself is too much. So how do you get back to yourself? Well, the good news is that the self that you abandoned all those years ago, not deliberately, not consciously, and it was never your fault, but what happens is that that self that you disconnected from, which is the essence of trauma, is the disconnection from yourself, that never went away. It's still there. And it's talking to you. And it's talking to you through your body. And it's talking to you through your emotions. So it's a matter of learning how to pay attention. And at some point, you have a decision to make. As a child, I had no choice. When there was a conflict between attachment here, authenticity over here, I had to choose. I didn't even choose because it's not conscious. I had to go with the attachment. As an adult, I don't have to anymore. And yes, if I'm authentic, I may lose some of my attachments. Some people who really liked me before will not like me. So you lose the attachment. And you have a decision to make. What would you rather have? Who would you rather have in your life? Them or yourself? That's the decision you're going to have to make sometime. That's just how it is.